I saw Memo one time up in real life from the grave, and his ass ain't do shit. And
you put him on.
I put him on camera,
him,
and then people got mad, and then he tried to be like, "Yeah, you lucky I ain't do something." Nah, why didn't you do nothing then? Don't I hate when people do that. Like, no, do it then. Like, and you should have. When I put the camera up, you should have knocked me the fuck out on my own camera. I would have still posted it if you was coming like this.
Memo 600 has found himself in a lot of trouble lately, and it might be because of the fact that no one's really sure where things stand with OTF as a whole anymore. A lot of people think that ever since Vaughn died, OTF has lost direction. Nobody can trust each other anymore. Of course, gang politics in Chicago have always been extremely complicated, but this whole situation takes things to a whole other level. Rico Recklezz has come out to speak on a few things Memo has tried to pull, and Bayzoo isn't too happy about what Memo's been up to either. So what really went down? See, OTF and 600 were really close for a long time, but after a while, it seemed like 600 started to get a little jealous of the new success that OTF was finding thanks to Lil Durk blowing up in the mainstream. Some rappers moved on with OTF, like Booka 600, while some other rappers got left in the dust, staying behind with 600. One of those rappers was none other than Memo 600, who started to take rapping seriously around the time Booka joined OTF. He said, "I used to do a lot of crazy stuff, ride around, go live on Instagram, tweak. They told me, man, stop taking that bad energy and put something to good, make music, make money out of it. I tried a song, everybody starts saying, you got a good voice for it. I took it and ran with it. Eventually, Lil Durk's older brother, D-Thang, realized that Memo had some talent, and Memo was signed to OTF. After a while, though, Memo got tired of hanging around in the background while all the other OTF members got all the fame and money he thought he deserved. A lot of people thought that his move to OTF was a bad decision. Lil Durk didn't really put much energy into Memo, and honestly didn't really care much about how his career went. They weren't really even close, and Lil Durk probably thought that since D-Thang brought him on, he had no responsibility for how his career went. In June of 2019, Memo was chilling at a party being held at a big mansion. Another dude who was at the party reported that he saw Memo dipping out of the mansion with blood on his clothes. Turns out that Memo had taken 3 rounds to the body, one to his leg, one to his chin, and one to his side. Memo would go on to post videos from the hospital to let his fans know that he was okay, and eventually he made it out of the whole scrape just fine. That being said, the dude that commented on what happened said that whoever did it was definitely shooting to take him out, despite the fact that they were unsuccessful. Nobody actually knows who came after Memo, or what the motive was for the whole thing. Despite that, the rumor mill went absolutely wild when it happened. A lot of people were saying that someone from O-Block set him up, but that's not very likely, considering the fact that he ran with OTF. Even though that he didn't exactly claim it, TTB came out to say that O-Block had nothing to do with it. As a result, a lot of people think that it must have been somebody from the TDB set. After this, we had the whole situation that really kicked off the problems that OTF had with Memo. Memo ended up getting his chain snatched. This was special though. First off, it wasn't just jacked by some random dude. The chain ended up getting grabbed by who else but TTB, one of the ops. Secondly, the chain wasn't just a generic OTF chain. It was special, and it was given to anybody who was officially a member of OTF. It marked them as a trusted member of the OTF crew. The fact that he didn't keep it protected at all costs came off as disrespectful to the whole OTF name. To make matters worse, since it was stolen by an op, it gave out the wrong message. It made a member of OTF look soft, and Durk isn't cool with that. Especially not when the dude who got his chain snatched was someone Durk wasn't really comfortable letting into OTF anyway. At first, nobody really knew what was up. That is until TTB took it to Instagram Live to show off his new piece. He didn't mention anything about who he took it from, but you could still clearly see that it must have come from the higher ranking members of OTF thanks to the 600 Boys for Life part of the chain. After that, Drilla took to his homie's Instagram to claim that the chain belonged to none other than Memo. Of course, it probably would have been hard to figure out where it came from when you realize that one of the homies, for some reason, isn't ever seen rocking his OTF chain. Nez also said that there's no way whoever's chain it was would ever get it back. The story that was running for the longest, that most people went with, was that Memo was in the shower when someone broke in and stole the chain, or that some snake grabbed it and passed it off to Nez. Obviously, that's pretty unlikely though. Fans were pretty quick to put together the fact that Memo was caught without the thing on him, and TTB knew that they were able to hit a big lick that would send a message. Of course, Memo still won't admit that he ever got his chain snatched. Instead of just copping to the fact that he got his chain snatched, he just vague posted on Facebook and Instagram. He said, "It's one thing getting caught lacking, but for a motherfucker to set you up, it's pure snake shit. Especially a motherfucker with your same bloodline. They do anything for some clout, and I see the same motherfucker that was just on his dick trying to get down. It show you they only love you when it's beneficial." The post has since been deleted, so what's actually up? Lil Durk pretty much immediately took to social media to put Memo on blast for letting something like that happen, whether he did get set up by one of his homies or he got caught lacking by TTB. He posted to his Twitter saying how he gang. They took his chain. Durk has since deleted this tweet. While nobody really knows how things went down here, the rumors are that Durk immediately went to D-Thang to ask if they can give Memo the boot from OTF for embarrassing the crew. Durk also rapped about the whole thing in a French Montana song saying, "You said they stole your chain, you lied, they took it." From From here on out, Memo basically stopped repping OTF whatsoever. He quit wearing any kind of OTF chain, he stopped hanging out with the crew, and he didn't really appear publicly on any of OTF's tracks or in their music videos. Aside from that, a lot of fans started to speculate that Memo 600 and Lil Durk were sending sneak disses back and forth on Twitter. Most of the posts that people are trying to cite as disses are pretty vague, but at the same time, it would make sense. People love trying to connect dots online though, regardless of what's actually up. That's just the beginning on the whole thing though. Memo 600 has basically been sticking his nose in a lot of different businesses. A lot of people in the Chicago music scene really aren't messing with it. One of the biggest examples of this is when Memo tried to call out DaBaby for releasing his collab mixtape with NBA YoungBoy on the same day Von's first posthumous album was supposed to come out. While tons of people justify it by saying Memo used to run with Von and Durk, a lot of people said he was out of pocket for giving his input. One of these people was DaBaby, who really wasn't happy with someone telling him that he had to pick a side for the whole thing. DaBaby said that he respected Von for standing on his business, and then he said he was about to do the same thing. In a recent interview with No Jumper, Rico Recklezz got into a discussion with Adam22 on where he stands with Memo.
So when people on the phone were like, yeah, boy, you know Recklezz over here. So Memo like, what? He over there? Man, somebody, man, knock him the fuck out and I'm gonna pay them. And they like, hell nah, boy, y'all had tripping. This for them, boy. We in this bitch, boy, together, boy. Y'all had tripping.
We should also really point out here that Rico doesn't really rep gangster disciples or black disciples, so it's not like much of what he says is coming from a gang perspective. He says that he was raised as a Black P-Stone, another gang faction in Chicago, but he doesn't really rep anything now. But he has his own label and his own dudes to run with. Rico Recklezz was in lockup for a good amount of time recently over in Cook County Prison near Chicago. In prison, everybody was more or less cool with Rico because he didn't really seem to start problems with a lot of people. They were excited he was there with them, and when Memo caught wind of it, he had a problem. This all coming from Rico, so there's really no way to verify if it's all true unless somehow Memo came out and admitted to everything. According to Rico, Memo called some people in prison and tried to have people knock Rico out, or even worse, take care of him. Everyone in prison basically just told Memo there was no way they were about to do all that. Another thing is that Rico didn't just straight up open the interview by airing out his business with Memo. He only brought it up when he was asked about it, which honestly makes the whole thing a lot more credible.
Memo like, what? He over there? Man, somebody, man, knock him the fuck out and I'm gonna pay them. And they like, hell nah, boy, y'all had tripping. This for them, boy. We in this bitch, boy, together, boy. Y'all had tripping.
For someone who wants to go on an independent route in the music industry, Memo is really making some powerful enemies. Doesn't seem like he's even concerned though. He's got problems with everyone now, whether that be people he used to roll with, his ops, or someone who's more or less not even caught up in any beef with him, like Rico. I don't really know what he expects all this to do for his music career, but if anything, it'll end up hurting him in the future. Maybe he's just doing all this kind of stuff to get himself talked about on the internet, and that might work for a little while, but in the long run, it's only going to put his career in danger, or maybe even worse, his life. To make matters worse, he apparently either got his chain snatched again, or one of his old ops gave this chain away to THF Zoo. In the live the Zoo posted, he wasn't just messing around and being funny either. He was straight up dissing the man, saying all kinds of stuff, telling him he better not be coming outside, etc. The dude seemed really upset, and it's hard to say why exactly. THF Zoo, also known as Bayzoo, is a member of the THF. Zoo has also claimed it's live that Memo wasn't even from 600. It's a bit of an issue because historically 600 and THF have been clicked up. Either something really serious is going down with Memo behind the scenes, or Zoo is confused. We really doubt it's the second one. To add some of the fuel to the flame, for a while after leaving OTF, Memo was going to sign with Wack 100. Wack 100 later came out and talked about how Memo came into Clubhouse and started talking incredibly reckless. Wack claimed that he was never technically his manager, although we guessed he didn't get the memo. Sorry for the bad pun. People on Twitter went crazy over the fact that there seemed to be some infighting going on. One fan straight up said, Memo ain't OTF. There's also some debate on whether or not the chain actually belongs to Memo, but a lot of people think that if it happened once, it could definitely happen again. Another person on Twitter said, I don't even know who Memo was, but looked him up on YouTube, that definitely is his charm. Lil Durk and the OTF squad really don't mess with Wack since he's been a business partner of 6ix9ine for a long time. Basically since he got released from prison. Wack's whole defense for even going into the business with 6ix9ine in the first place is that 6ix9ine can't have actually flipped on his homies if he wasn't an actual gang member in the first place. Honestly though, that excuse is pretty bad, and OTF didn't buy it either. 6ix9ine has also just had issues with Chicago in general ever since his beef with Chief Keef started. The whole 6ix9ine and Wack thing isn't that important, but at the same time, it doesn't go to show just how quickly Memo would flip on his homies for some clout like that. That's pretty much what Rico is getting at. The dude absolutely can't be trusted, and to make matters worse, he's shown that by basically screwing over anybody he's been affiliated with in the past. In fact, pretty much everyone on Twitter just clowns on Memo relentlessly, regardless of where they stand on his beef. The goofiest of all time, Will You and Fidney Boy tied for the goofiest of all time. They tweeted that right at his account. Another user said, ever since Steve Drive Memo broke away from OTF, he's been saying stupid shit. Makes me wonder how much negative shit Lil Durk had to stop Memo from doing or saying. No wonder Memo wanted out. Wanted his freedom to be the dumb motherfucker he truly is. Mission accomplished bro. Do you. Did Memo actually try to set Rico up, or is he just trying to make Memo's people even more skeptical about him? Let us know what you think down below in the comments. Don't forget to keep it RIZZLE. And if you liked what you heard in this video, make sure to subscribe to get more hot rap news. Don't forget to check out this video next.